Hey everybody, this is Ka and Reef. We are here E3 2017. We are hanging with Rohan Rivas over from the Lawbreakers team, hanging out with us. Bosskey is in full effect. How are you doing, sir? How's everything going? How's your E3 been? What's going on?
I'm doing great. So as you guys interview me, we're kind of wrapping up E3, right? It's the last couple hours of the show. And as I'm looking out right now, I see our cosplayers, Kronos and Maverick, walking by. People are looking at them. It's really cool. You know, we're here because what we felt when we heard that this is becoming a consumer show, right? Like they have consumers coming into the show, true fans, gamers. They're like, we got to be there. We got to be there. We got to bring the game with us. And the reception, especially to PS4, has just been super strong, and we didn't know what to expect, right? Because this is the first time anybody's played it outside of our office on PS4.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely great because you guys definitely have a nice-sized booth, and it's set up to where I feel like the booth reflects the competition in the game.
Sure.
So it feels like there's actually a fan of people, like a group of fans watching like this sort of, esports game with the shoutcasting and like all that stuff. So I think that the booth setup really facilitated the enjoyment in the presentation of the game.
That's great to hear, right? So when we were coming up with it, we wanted to make sure that the line itself was kind of integrated into the booth, so that while people waited, they could watch the shoutcast, they could watch other people playing on PS4, and as they waited to play the game, they could be onboarded. They can kind of learn what's going on, learn about the mode, and learn about the roles while they waited to play the game, so that by the time that they play, at least they'll have some understanding, because the game is very high skill. It's a very high skill game. It's like we're calling it like the Dark Souls of first-person shooters right now, right? So, you want to aspire to do better. You get killed a lot. Well, you know what? It's because that guy was better than me, not because I got cheesed.
Yeah. One of the things that, having played multiple versions of the beta on PC where I am awful and I'm terrible and I suck at Lawbreakers on PC. When you announced that it was going to be on PS4, I was super, super excited because I was like, I will now have a chance to get in there and feel like I can do what I need to do and actually be competitive. It told you, and it's not about the game on the PC. It's me totally just sucking on mouse and keys. What was the thought behind kind of bringing it to another platform? How have the folks on the PC side who have been part of your community already, and your Discord is like always heavy, full of people chatting about the game, what were their kind of takes on you guys moving to PS4 and bringing that into the fold too?
Yeah, we'd always said for a long time it's PC only. But at the end of the day, we want to get as many players as possible playing the game. And there are a lot of console fans, a lot of PS4 fans, and a lot of console gamers in the office making the game. And we just wanted to open it up as wide as we can. We can't do every platform because we're still a small-ish team. But to all of those PC players, when they hear, oh, Lawbreakers is going PS4 now, does that compromise the PC product? And actually, it's done the opposite. Working on PS4 because we worked on it internally at our studio. Working on PS4 actually helped us optimize PC, which is really cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually would have thought that it would have introduced some more challenges, because I know that I've heard it, in Overwatch, how they kind of separately tune the PC and the console versions, and they're also talking about that with Destiny as well. Is that something that it kind of, I almost feel like it would almost double you guys' work, because you have to tune the gameplay to the responsiveness of a mouse and a keyboard and to a PS4 controller?
Yeah, so there are certainly complexities that come with, how do you translate mouse and keyboard controls to a controller? We're still figuring that out. So that is certainly a challenge, right? But when I was referring to optimizations, talking about performance, performance of the game, right? So by pushing ourselves to hit 60 frames per second, which we do, 60 frames per second on PS4, that actually gave us the opportunity to optimize for PC, because the harder we push PlayStation performance, that means the harder we're pushing PC, and we're actually improving PC performance by the result of that, because we're just making the game that much more optimized. So PC runs better because we were working on PS4. When it goes to controls, that's a challenge. Like I said, our take on it is we're doing our very best to make sure that the controls translate. I think that it plays pretty well. I think there's some work to be done, sure, but we want to give players choice. We want to give them multiple control schemes. We want to give them the ability to map buttons so they can create their best controls.
So what have been some of the things since you've started this process of working on Lawbreakers in the kind of couple of iterations that have gone through the gameplay and
Sure.
kind of slowing things down, speeding things up? What have been some of the things that you've noticed has been some of the kind of overarching narratives that you've heard from the community so far about things that they have really enjoyed, things that they are looking forward to, and stuff that they are really hoping they'll be able to continue to do in both versions of the game?
Yeah, I think the thing that people have voiced the most is that the game is super challenging, right? It's tough to have a game that's super challenging because you eliminate the low skill players, right? And then if they get stomped, will they come back?
Right.
And then you just have a matchmaking pool that is just a bunch of high skill players fighting against each other. And the second somebody lower skill just starting out jumps in, then they're going to get totally smashed, right? So what we've done, and our engineers, Rohan Rivas, he's our lead engineer, those guys have done a lot of work to make sure that the matchmaking pools are fair and balanced, so that if you have high skill players, they are getting match made into games that are high skill players only. Low skill players just starting out are getting match made against other low skill players, and we have this ecosystem, this player base that is fair and balanced the best we can. And it really helps define like some fair competition. So I think that's been the biggest challenge, and what people have talked about the most is that the game is really, really hard.
Yeah.
So since you're jumping into the shooter market, which has a whole bunch of other games, obviously, what are some of the things that you feel like Lawbreakers does the best out of the sort of existing genre?
Yeah, I mean it's a crowded genre. The elephant in the room is like Overwatch. Are you guys going up against Overwatch?
Right.
It's like, I think like the perception, since it's a first-person shooter, like many first-person shooters, looks similar, right? You see a character, he's got two guns. They also warp and like blink around. You're like, it looks like Tracer, right? But the second you play the game, 15 minutes with the game, you will know that it's very different. We can be the Pepsi to Overwatch's Coke, right?
Yeah.
Like, multiple games can exist in this space, but the things that differentiate us, I think, is the challenge, the skill, the speed of the game. It's very, very fast, but also Cliff Bleszinski's just unique touch, right? Like, he's a world builder. Lawbreakers is an original IP. It's got an original story and fiction. The characters are mature. There's some, irreverence and cheekiness to it, like Deadpool. Like there's just so much personality there that we think that's really, in conjunction with our gameplay, those things are going to shine through once we get this game out here and we're able to reinforce and elaborate on the story and the fiction and the characters. It's going to be really cool. Yeah,
one of the really cool talks I heard happen with you and Tramel and Cliff talked about some of the nuanced mechanics of how the art plays into the gameplay. It was a conversation that talked about, and Cliff was kind of delving into, the conversation about silhouettes and how silhouettes are the things that are determining how far you can see a thing, knowing what that class is and be able to react to it. With the fidelity that you have on the PS4, with the PC, and then moving to the PS4, I'm sure some of those things definitely are still there. Do you feel like there are any, not advantages, but there are any things that on the PC you can kind of discern a little bit better and maneuverability because, of course, the mouse and keyboard are faster than on PS4? Do you feel like there will be a parallel if someone wanted to plug some mouse and keyboard into their PS4 and maybe try to kind of get in that space?
Yeah, so we're going for parity. We're going for parity on PC and PS4, right? I mean, it's essentially, it's like the same build of the game, just deployed to different platforms. But of course, those platforms are limited in certain ways. Mouse and keyboard on PC, you can plug a controller in for sure, but the support isn't going to be as good as it is on PS4. We're going for the same experience on both, really, right? The silhouettes of the characters, you should be able to read them both equally on PC versus PS4. We're pushing PS4 pretty hard.
Yeah.
The graphics and the fidelity on PS4 Pro will be a little bit more enhanced.
Okay.
Right, some 4K textures, like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But it's going to be virtually the same experience, aside from PC players really going to be able to dial it up,
Sure.
right? Like go to 144 hertz, like
Sure.
kind of go a little crazy. But everything should be able to read the same if you're a gamer.
Cool.
Yeah, so you mentioned earlier some of the irreverence and the humor that like Cliff brings. I heard a lot of really funny dialogue as I was playing the game. As you talk about some of the lore and sort of the fiction that you're gonna introduce, can we expect to see some of that same kind of humor and that maturity in the story as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the game is mature, right? So all of the media and stuff that we do on the periphery or in game, right, is going to be mature. And the irreverence and the silliness, that cheeky kind of Deadpool style. We want to carry that through everything. We want to maintain that because we feel like that gives us personality. It gives Lawbreakers, something that's special. Like even in game or the trailer, we have a Blur trailer, CG, fantastic. And like even throughout it, there's all those little moments where it's just like these characters reacting, and then the little blitz ball comes up at the end and like looks around, and it's just like, yeah, we want to carry that through and keep that thread through everything we do.
Yeah. It's been really fun to kind of jump in and feel like you talked about lore and you talked about the kind of dialogue things, like the fully fleshed out idea you can see is already there.
Sure.
What are some of the things that, of course, you still have to finish the game currently, but what are some things that you're hoping to kind of hit on, post launch, post release, to kind of even add to that and add more layers to it?
Yeah, so when the game comes out, we'll have 9 roles, which is 18 characters, 8 maps, 5 modes. But then after you buy the game, it's all, at $29.99, all future content is free of charge, right? Which is awesome. And with each content, as we want to deploy content post-launch, we want to continue to build that narrative. So there's going to be new characters that come in who may have a relationship with other characters, new maps that may outline a faction, right, more so than another map. And we want to tie that stuff together thematically the best we can. Personally, I think Rainbow Six Siege does a really good job of their updates feel cohesive, right?
Right.
The characters feel cohesive with the environment, with the update. It's very cool. So, that's a direction I would love to go in the future. I think we've got some great plans.
Yeah, sweet. So one thing I enjoy as like a physics nerd, right?
Yeah.
is like the gravity aspect of the game. So when I first played, I was actually trying to calculate, because I'm a nerd, how slow the gravity actually gets in the middle part of the arenas. I'm really curious as to, what kind of goes into those decisions, like exactly how to alter gravity to make it still fun, but not like too floaty. Like I'm sure there's a lot of back and forth.
There's been a lot of work that's gone into making sure like the gravity component of the game feels good, because you don't want to try to go through something that feels like mud, right? Like you don't want it to slow you down. We want to use that as a mechanic to really foster high skill play. So say you're jumping into 0G and you're a really good player, and you jump in as the enforcer and you use control to blind fire. Blind fire launches you through 0G. You're gaining that propulsion, that momentum. You're shooting guys in 0G in midair, and then you get out of it towards the objective. We want gravity to be one of those things that really highlights high skill play. And a lot of work went into making sure that, when you're moving around it, it feels natural and it doesn't slow you down.
One of the things that I've always found really cool about what you do at Bosskey is you do a lot of behind-the-scenes work. You do a lot of behind-the-scenes kind of documentary work about, the studio and, like, bringing people into the kind of open development of Lawbreakers. How do you going to kind of expand on that, too? Because it's been really cool to see, especially you head it up and do some really cool work. How do you kind of want to expand on that and kind of bring people back in throughout the life cycle of the game?
So that thing is a passion of mine. So
Yeah.
I do that. I do those because I want to do those. Nobody's telling me hey, you've got to do one dev diary every 2 months or something. It's not. No, I do that stuff, and I do it personally. I produce, I write, and I edit all the videos myself because it's a passion. And how cool is it to be at a studio and be able to tell those stories, right? Because that's always what I've wanted to do. I want to continue to do it as much as possible. I wish I could do more because, it has to take the back seat at the moment. But I want to continue to do live streams post-launch. I want to do, at least every 2 weeks, live streams, updates from the dev team, balance updates, why we changed this.
Yeah.
Live streams are a lot easier to produce.
Yeah.
But I still want to continue to do produced pieces at some point. And hopefully, if the game does well, I can bring some more people into the studio to help me out with all this stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely want to keep doing more of it after the game launches.
Yeah, it's been really cool. It's been a lot of fun to see it.
That's awesome.
It's been a lot of fun. Last couple of quick questions.
Sure.
Who is the best out of the crew on the
Oh,
Lawbreakers team? Who's the one right now currently who is like the one who's kicking everybody's ass?
Putting them on the spot.
I'd probably have to say Nathan Wolf. He's a gameplay programmer. He's really good. He's really, really good, and so is Ned. Ned is on the environment art team. They're fantastic players, and whenever they sit down in like the lab to play the game, like we do in playtests, like everybody's just like, "Oh, do I want to play in this one? I don't know. I'm gonna get smashed by this dude." But it's cool because like those guys, push the limits of the game, and it's the closest that we can have in the office of those high skill players at home, right? Because we will never be as good as the people who play our game ever.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's a good realization to have because obviously you guys have to do the work of making and maintaining it. You can't play however many hours that the best people play, right?
Yep.
So I do want to touch a little bit on the social aspect of it.
Sure.
So, as I said before, I think you showed a really great community with the booth here. What are some of the plans on how to support the community sort of outside of the DLC and the content? Yeah,
so, what I want to do to help grow and foster the game, right, is do fun things on a community level like release cosplay guides. We've released our Chronos cosplay guide and our Maverick one. And there, I wanted to, let's push it. Let's push it a little bit more. Let's give people a little bit more. So I think they're like 6 or 7 page guides that has like backstory on the character, a note from the dev team, and then we go through and we look at the pieces, we look at the character, and then we give a little bit of lore and backstory on some of the outfit.
Wow.
That kind of stuff I think is really important for, in equipping people with materials to help them tell the story of the game, but also give them a taste, right? Of like, hey, if there's some fun stuff we can put in here lore-wise, let's do it. So we plan on continuing to do that from here on out for all the characters. And the next one I want to do is Sunshine, right up there.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
She's our Harrier.
That would
one
be
of
awesome.
Our Harrier roles, which we revealed earlier this week. Not playable yet, but hopefully soon. But yeah, that's a launch character. And we think people are going to have a really fun time making the boots and like doing all like this cool weapon and stuff. So yeah, so that's one of the ways that we hope to support community post-launch.
Cool. So we're about to get up out of here again. Thank you so much for your time.
Dude.
We always love to be able to talk to you and the rest of the Bosskey crew because you're awesome, and we love what you guys are doing. Let folks know when things are dropping, any other information you want to share.
Well, we just want to say thank you to you guys because without, people like you and gamers at home and community, I mean, this is why we do what we do, right? It's passion. It's great. Everybody's like, oh, are you so tired? Aren't you tired? And like talking to me, it's just like, no, this is amazing. Like we're making video games, people.
Right.
Like, and we're playing video games. It's a dream come true. So I just want to say thank you. And yeah, the game comes out August 8th this year, under 2 months, $29.99. PC and PS4. You can pre-order it right now.
Nice.
And yeah, lifetime of content after you pay that initial price.
Awesome, and it's a perfect birthday present for me.
There you go.
August babies, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Nice.
All right, everybody, we are almost out of here. It is E3 2017. This is Kai and Reef. We're about to get up out of here. Peace, everybody. We'll see you in a bit.
Peace.
Yeah.